Imagine a world where the laws of the road are broken, where the rumbling of engines fills the night, and danger waits around every corner. Prepare for an adrenaline-fueled ride of the most dangerous female Hell's Angels. They are women who defy preconceptions, rewriting the norms of rebellion. One Sandy the Serpent Sullivan, even the fiercest outlaw motorcycle riders shudder at her name. Sandy the Serpent Sullivan is a clever, cruel lady. Sandy grew up in the gritty streets of Los Angeles. Her father, a former Hell's Angel, told her about brotherhood, rebellion, and the motorcycle club's fame. She listened in awe as a child, enchanted by freedom on the open road. She wanted respect, dread, and independence like the Hell's Angels. Sandy defiantly joined the renowned motorcycle club at 18. She had to prove herself, often outperforming men. Her moniker, the Serpent, was earned by her fast and surprising blows. Sandy was able to read people and exploit their flaws and desires. She was a superb manipulator with caustic remarks. Her exploits included a fierce territorial dispute with the Mongols. Sandy used her wits to defuse the situation without firing a shot. She used Mongol infighting to win the disputed territory for the Hell's Angels. Sandy's reign as the Serpent Sullivan was controversial. Though unproven, she was accused of assault, intimidation, and murder. She dodged her pursuers like a serpent. Her narrative shows how smart and brutal illegal motorbike riders are. 2. Rosie Road Rage Ramirez. Originally from Arizona's burned landscapes, Rosie Road Rage Ramirez boldly navigated the brutal world of outlaw motorcycle groups. Road Rage's fierce passion and reckless bravery made her one of the Hell's Angels' most feared figures that a problematic youth. She was always more at home on the back of a bike than in a classroom. In a male-dominated workplace, Rosalie's angelic journey was difficult. Rosie was tough and worked twice as hard to prove herself. She overcame every challenge with courage, perseverance, and a violent streak that left her opponents quaking. Rosie was a fierce fighter. Her fists weren't the only thing that hurt rival gang members. She was notorious for outrunning law authorities in high-speed chases. Her most famous feat happened during a violent confrontation with a rival gang, where she and her crew were outnumbered and outgunned, but she charged in and defeated opponent after opponent. That Rose's aggressiveness and fury won her respect and fear in the underworld, but they also made her a target. Rosie's recklessness and frequent run-ins with the police made her one of the most wanted Hell Angels. Despite several attempts to take her down, Rosie Road Rage Ramirez remained unrepentant and undeterred. 3. Anarchy Anderson. Angie was raised in Detroit's grim reality. Angie, an anarchist, began her trip with the Hell's Angels in the urban jungle. She fit in with the Hell's Angels' defiance and rebelliousness. Her distinct ideology and shameless love for disorder made her anarchic and a force to be reckoned with. Angie was erratic. She was unpredictable. Unpredictability made her a formidable opponent. She was unpredictable and could derail the best-laid plans. In her fights with competing gangs, Angie's unusual tactics and surprise moves left her opponents confused and vulnerable. Angie's law enforcement encounters were frequent. Her ingenuity and resourcefulness often helped her avoid capture. Angie loved the Hell's Angels despite her chaos. She saw the club as a family of freedom-loving rebels. Angie Anarchy Anderson flourished in chaos and left an everlasting mark on Hell's Angel history. 4. Molly Mad Dog McDougal. Molly Mad Dog McDougal used dread as a weapon and a cloak in the motorbike underworld. She proudly displayed her fury and ferocity. Molly was a force of energy born into poverty in rural Georgia. Her hard childhood developed her survival instincts and gave her great drive and stubbornness to back down. These attributes helped her with Hell's Angels. Molly, eager to prove herself, took on a local gang generating trouble for the Hells and Angels. Molly defeated the entire gang in a vicious fight, earning her the nickname Mad Dog. She went to great lengths to defend her Hell's Angel brothers and sisters. Molly's violence regularly got her into issues with the law. She was frequently arrested and on the most wanted list. Despite the odds, Molly managed to evade capture time and again, her cunning and resourcefulness matching her brute strength point. One of her most famous exploits involved a high-speed chase with law enforcement that ended with Molly jumping across a collapsed bridge. Molly Mad Dog McDougal was a legend in outlaw motorcycle organizations, and the incident caught on camera only enhanced her reputation as a daredevil. 5. Lena Lethal Lawson. Lethal Lawson's reputation was worth gold among the Hells Angels. Lena was a quiet Alaskan woman who took action. However, her actions were premeditated, fatal, and notorious among outlaw bikers. Lena was mechanically gifted from childhood. Lena's intelligence, dedication, and ability to disassemble and reassemble engines before driving made her an asset to Hells Angels. That Lena's technical skills made her feared at the club. But it wasn't just that. Her lethal nickname reflected her threat-handling skills. Lena was not a woman of unnecessary violence. She did not revel in chaos or seek out fights, but when the situation called for it, she was a force to be reckoned with, not only averting the ambush but turning the tables on the rival gang, leaving them scattered and defeated, cementing her reputation as one of the Hells Angels' most dangerous women. That Lena's life was controversial. Law enforcement targeted her for her lethality. She avoided arrest despite intensive monitoring. The Hells Angels valued Lena Lethal Lawson's mechanical abilities, lethal efficiency, and ability to avoid law police. 6. Fiona Firebrand Fitzpatrick. Growing up in Chicago, Fiona inspired and rebelled. Fiona was a rebel. Her motorbike love and attitude led her to Hells Angels. Her fierce speeches and demands to defy society earned her the nickname Firebrand. She led gang fights. She inspired her fellow Angels to battle fiercely. Fiona organized a series of protests against a citywide motorcycle gang crackdown. These intense, defiant protests conveyed a message to the authorities. So, police frequently targeted her. Fiona kept fighting for the Hells Angels, her fiery soul becoming hotter with each battle. 7. Daisy Death Wish Donovan. Daisy Death Wish Donovan, an illegal motorbike rider, had real courage. Her life was recognized for daring and reckless boldness. She was a thrill-seeker who attacked problems head-on, which led her to Hells Angels, a group known for their love of freedom and contempt for danger. Daisy bravely entered Hells Angels. A rival gang stole the Hells Angels' treasured motorcycle. Daisy, anxious to show herself, sneaked into the opposing gang's territory, collected the bike, and left. She became a Hells Angel after her bold feat. Daisy's daring nature led to many run-ins with the cops. Her audacious deeds often crossed the line. Daisy's resourcefulness and quick thinking saved her many times from captivity. Daisy's most famous achievement was a high-speed chase with law enforcement on the bike she had seized from the rival gang. She evaded capture by making a series of spectacular maneuvers that left the following officers in the dust. Daisy Death Wish Donovan was more than a Hells Angel. She represented boldness and the joy of living life on the brink. 8. Nightmare Nicholson. In the world of Hells Angels, where reputation often precedes reality, Nina Nightmare Nicholson was a name that evoked both respect and fear. Known for her ruthless tactics and strategic acumen, she turned every confrontation into a nightmare for her opponents. Growing up in New Orleans' shadowy corners, she was no stranger to life's harsh realities. Her survival instincts and strategic intellect were honed in the bleak environment, and her love of motorcycles led her to Hells Angels. Her strategy helped the Hells Angels beat competing gangs. Her name, Nightmare, reflects her ruthlessness. Nina's ruthlessness made her a target for law authorities, who tracked her acts and movements. Despite the pressure, Nina's clever intellect always found a way out of the Hells Angels world. Nina Nightmare Nicholson was formidable. Her cunning and ruthlessness made her an outlaw motorcycling legend. 9. Brenda Breakneck. In the Hells Angels universe, where speed is respected, Brenda Breakneck Brooks was legendary for her motorbike speed and agility. Brenda, a California native, was a motorbike enthusiast from an early age. Her moniker, Breakneck, reflects her motorcycle skills. In a high-stakes race with a rival gang, Brenda rode faster than her opponents and won a key victory for the Hells Angels. Brenda Breakneck Brooks was formidable. Her speed and agility made her an outlaw motorcycling legend. She wasn't only Hell's Angel. She was a speed devil who lived quickly. Point 10 Tara Tornado Thompson. Tornado Thompson was noted for her whirlwind approach to confrontations and propensity to stir things up in a chaotic world. Tara was a stormbringer. Texas Tornado Tara was a natural fighter. Her fiery temper and strong will led her to Hell's Angels, a group that embraced her stormy nature and her refusal to back down from a fight. Her moniker, Tornado, reflected her erratic behavior. Tara rallied the Hell's Angels and launched a frenzied assault on a rival gang, winning a decisive victory for her club. This bolstered her status as a stormy force. Tara Tornado Thompson was a force to be reckoned with. Her aggressive demeanor and ability to mobilize her fellow angels made her one of the most feared and respected outlaw motorcycling leaders.